Welcome back to Jedi Enclave. I am Daniel.
I'm Chris.
And welcome to our weekly podcast, Jedi Enclave presents the Now This Is Podcasting podcast, a weekly podcast live show about Star Wars and the other things we love. And we've been on an Ahsoka kick. The main attraction today is Ahsoka. I totally get it.
Yes.
And it was a big deal.
Yeah.
And there's a lot to talk about. And I've got some weird fucking thoughts about it. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. We'll get there. So if you're here for the recap, stick around.
Hold on to your butts.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
We will.
Allegedly, there's some news. Daniel didn't let me look at it, so I don't know what it is.
There's like one news thing. I saw a few things and I was like, it's not important.
All of this is stupid.
Like one of them's like George Lucas had to tell Liam Neeson to stop making lightsaber noises. It's like I fucking knew that. Like course. Everyone who's a Star Wars fan knows that. Like how the fuck is this news? There aren't any big things. There's one the kind of big thing we'll talk about like at the top of the show, but we're gonna spend most of our time on Ahsoka because, like I said, this week was a fucking like doozy episode.
It was girthy.
Yeah.
Girthy with plot relevance.
If you're here later in the future, looking back at our podcast on YouTube, you can go to the description of this video for time codes. That way, if you want to skip our discussion about girthy things in Star Wars, you can do that. But frankly, why would you want to? Because that's the best part. A big thank you, as always, to our friend Connor at the Star Wars Hub and Star Wars Veritas, which is like a Facebook operation that you should check out because the whole thing is about being a positive Star Wars fan and not giving in to the dark side, which is like clickbait and all that other bullshit Star Wars theory, all that and I mean, while you're here, since you're already here, you should give us a like or a subscribe or share. It's what George Lucas would do if he were here watching our podcast.
Definitely share this podcast with that one aunt you have who hates everything Star Wars.
Yeah, I'm not thinking. Yeah, George Lucas would want you to. You can't prove that he wouldn't.
This is true.
Yeah, and in fact, if you ever heard this and like issued a statement to disprove, that would still be really huge for us. So like,
because it would mean George Lucas is taking official notice of us.
It's like a win-win for us.
It's just a huge win.
Yeah, he allegedly would like this podcast. He might already. I don't know. You can't.
Can't prove he doesn't.
Yep. Directly after this, at 7:00 Central, we are playing Battlefront.
We just committed so many logical fallacies. Right now.
I didn't want to say anything because like. I get into the weeds with that shit sometimes, and it's like people are just want me to stop talking about stuff like that.
I can just see the steam coming out of your ears.
Yeah. So 7:00 Battlefront with our friends from Gremlin Squad, where most likely the conversation about Ahsoka will continue because it's a big deal. And then we're going to recap the episode. First, we'll do a spoilers free. We'll recap the episode. I've got a whole thing. I put out a post on social media today for theories and observations. Got a whole list of them we're going to talk about. I got a lot of questions myself too that I don't know, that this episode was great. Probably the best one so far. Also opened as many questions as it answered.
Which is about what you would expect. This was the 4th episode. It's an 8-episode season.
Yeah. It's kind of like the mid-season like freak out, right? And then, also Sundays at 7, we do our Gungans and Dragons show. It's with some of the guys from Gremlin Squad, some other friends. And if you don't know what that is, it's a tabletop RPG, and we pretend to be. I'm a Chiss Jedi. You're a fucking the pilot with a gun and shit.
You nearly died.
I got so high. Actually,
you got so high that you can no longer use the Force.
But I did really well.
And then we got into a fight with a bunch of droids, and you nearly died.
Okay, brief recap. We whole room of droids. I'm high as fuck. I just leap through the air, slash down with 2 guys.
Yeah. And
then the other 4 turned and looked at me and then shot me until I died. So it was like a blaze of glory.
Yeah.
I helped and then, I almost died. I guess I didn't die. I just passed out, I guess.
Yeah. And then we gave you a bunch of more medical drugs until you woke up.
Vicodin. Yeah. You Vicodin me until I woke up. Yeah. So if you're into that kind of thing, join us Sunday at 7. It's a blast. I've never done one of those before, and I can see the appeal now. Like it's really neat. What's really funny is that like I can see how people kind of get lost in their character and how they like, you know, they want to pretend to be that person because it kind of makes it, you know, kind of fun. And I'm not going to put on like blue body paint. I don't think.
No one's asking you to.
I know no one's asking me to, but I may indeed. I don't know. So let's talk about this Star Wars news thing real quick.
Okay.
Which, by the way, this is a live show. So if you're watching and you would like to drop a comment, we'll read those.
We welcome them.
Yeah, and like between things, I'll take a look and everything. And like I said, we're going to be reading a bunch of fan comments like later on. But I'm going to make this one quick.
Okay.
Star Wars Skeleton Crew likely delayed by a year.
Because of the ongoing writer and actor strikes.
Now, this is weird to me that they're saying it's because of that, because that show was finished with production by the time the strike started. So either they're just like, oh, look at the evil actor writers. They're the reason you don't get Skeleton Crew. And they're just lying, which, I mean, it's Hollywood.
Wouldn't put it past them.
Or there were like reshoots and rewrites they needed to do, which is really common like nowadays in Hollywood. And they need writers for that. And obviously their talent to come back and reshoot stuff.
Possibility 3 is that they have no end in sight of when these strikes is going to happen and when they can have new shit. So they're spacing out the stuff that they have.
Drip feed.
Like stretching it as far as possible.
Yeah. Which also is dishonest, like blaming it on the strikes. And stuff.
But they're trying to get leverage.
Yeah. I was reading that Hollywood has taken a pretty big hit because of the strikes and the article.
Which is the point of the strike.
But because they I can't remember exactly who it was. I should have read more about this. It did a quarterly earnings call today. And they're like, yeah, we've lost like $300 million. And I was like, nice. Because you know that the only thing those assholes care about is how much money.
Yeah.
And it's like you could have saved, like it would have been cheaper for you probably to have just negotiated
pay the writers and actors.
to have negotiated in good faith. And you didn't. You fucked around and you found out. And honestly, if I have to wait a year to see Skeleton Crew for them to keep learning the lesson of fuck around and found out.
Okay.
So let's do it. Like, I don't mind. We'll do Star Wars story time from now until the end of time. There are so many fucking comic books. Like, I'm fine.
Yeah.
Doing that for like 2 years if we have to.
We could even go into the old EU comic books.
Yeah. Oh, there's so much stuff. Yeah. There's fucking novels. Like I could.
I mean, that's where we got Yoda crashing the Justice Star in Coruscant and killing billions of people.
I could talk from now until I passed out from fatigue about stories I know from Star Wars. Just we'll be fine. Like, you guys stay on strike. Not that you're asking us. Like, who gives a fuck? But yeah. So Skeleton Crew not happening. I think that Mando season 5 is still supposed to happen between now and by the time we see that. I think Acolyte is like ready to go. I think so they're in post production, and I think we're going to get that like early 2024. And what was the other one? Hold on, I'm going to click on this article right here. It's gonna pop up being like, you should disable ad blocker, and they're so stupid because they didn't. They give me the option to be like, no, continue not supporting us.
Andor as well.
Continue not supporting us, and I'm like, okay, that's fine. So Acolyte Andor season 2. So there you go, Star Wars news. All right, Ahsoka, episode 4, Fallen Jedi.
Yes.
Let's start with some non-spoilers.
Holy shit, this episode was Japanese as fuck.
It went hard. The whole episode went hard. It was very Japanese.
I guess microscopic spoiler, there is lightsaber combat in here.
It's good.
All of the lightsaber combat is like straight out of Japanese. Like you taught me Japanese sword fighting, and like I recognized like half the shit they were doing is stuff I learned.
Yes, and I'm going to throw it in when we get there because there are a bunch of stances that you can tell there was loving care to make the lightsaber combat look a certain way, and it's very consistent, and it doesn't look like, it looks very functional. And it's not like and look, this is not an indictment on prequel era lightsaber battles or even sequel or original trilogy, because I like all of them for different reasons, right?
They're all very stylized.
Yeah, and especially the prequel, which is why I liked it so much. Like watching Yoda flip around like a crazy fuck, right? Like that's really cool. I think we've talked about this before. There's a really famous GIF of Anakin and
Obi-Wan just kind of twirling their lightsabers and not hitting anything.
And it's like 3 seconds straight. They're just like twirling it. And like a common like shooting tactic that they would use is they would have choreographed stuff, obviously, and they never sped it up. Like like that prequel stuff, like they were doing that in real time. They never sped it up. Those guys were moving really fast. But so for like wide shots, they do that. But for like, they would do close-up drama shots, and they'd be like, okay, the camera's here, just wave your lightsaber around. Yeah. Like, don't worry about anything else.
Just make it look good.
Yeah. And like, you know what? As a kid, I was like, that's fucking great.
It works.
I love that this is like the closest we've gotten to like legit sword fighting that you would actually see in real life, which I was like, that's great. The music continues to be fucking great.
Absolutely.
I also love Baylan Skoll.
Yeah.
I love his actor. I love how much of a fucking brick wall he is.
Mm-hmm.
He
absolute
like
unit.
In the episode, like you watch Ahsoka for a while. She's the main character, obviously. And you know, she's thin. And
she's got some muscles on her,
but like her, you know, she's kind of small a little bit. And it's like you watch her throughout the episode, and then you see a shot of Baylan's skull. And it's like, how are you that wide?
He's the size of a refrigerator.
He's so big. And like in one of the fights, there's this moment I'll point it out when we get there where like they're fighting, and out of nowhere he has this sudden athletic moment where he does like a jump spin, and it doesn't look out of place, and you're like, that would knock someone over. Like that is so fucking, and that's one of the things I love about the lightsaber combat that they're doing so far, is that even that has a function. Like in real life, if you had someone move like that at you and you blocked it, you probably fall over, because the dude's like what, like 240 pounds or something, and like, I don't know, 6 fucking miles tall.
Yeah.
We're going to get into this in the spoiler section. So I'm very excited about this because I watched this twice back to back last night, and I'm not going to spoil it right now. We'll give you a good warning. There were things that we expected to see, but I don't think anyone expected it to happen this soon or in this combination. And so now I'm just like, what the fuck is happening? And I love, like, we are getting into the weeds, Force lore.
Things are getting weird.
Yeah. And it like, I'm saying this as a fact. I'm not trying to toot my own horn here. I am an expert on the content. I know a lot about Star Wars. Mm-hmm. I walked away from that episode last night like, what?
Huh?
And not necessarily in a bad way. It's just like, it was like, I have some questions. And what else?
I love the lighting. I love the cinematography.
That planet, the Cetos, is really cool. Like the setting is really neat.
Another microscopic spoiler. They spend a lot of time in the woods that we saw before with like the red leaves and like the gray bark, and like in underneath those trees, there's all this shadow and stuff in it. It works really, really well with the aforementioned microscopic spoiler lightsaber combat.
Yeah, it really does. It's really neat. And of course, the end of this had an explosive reveal that we'll get to. Speaking of which,
seriously, if you haven't watched it yet, go watch it.
Yes, because we're about to spoil it.
We're going to spoil everything, and you don't want to experience it this way for the first time.
Yeah, or maybe you do. I don't know. Maybe you're fucking weird.
I mean, maybe you should really like us, but
so you've been warned. Spoilers ahoy! Steer away, unless you don't want to. All right.
Okay. Episode 4, titled "Fallen Jedi." So over this is Star Wars animation with the helmets and the droids and shit. There's sparking and electronic noises. Mm-hmm. We open in the cockpit on the ship, and Hu Yang is making repairs, and Sabine comes in and picks up the phone, tries to dial Hera, but she only gets a dial tone.
This is there are a bunch of like little things that I noticed that I just kind of took note of, where I was like, this looks really cool. And they might not mean anything to anyone, but to me, it was like, that's kind of neat. I love how real Star Wars is starting to feel. And it's something as small as Sabine just stepping over Hugh Yang while he's like on his back. He's like, he's like under the muscle car, like trying to figure it out and shit. And it's just like, you know, in the prequels, that would have been CGI, probably. Like the droid would have been CGI or some shit. And it's really neat how real it all is.
So Hugh Yang is like, yeah, the radio doesn't work. I'll do some technobabble shit and try to fix it.
You'll bypass the compressor.
Yeah. Sabine's like, okay, where's Ahsoka? And Hugh Yang is like, she's outside.
She's brooding at the trees.
So Ahsoka is brooding at the trees. Sabine walks down the ramp and says, okay, basically everything about the ship is fucked. We're stranded here. We can't call for help. Everything sucks. Ahsoka is like,
we're badasses though.
Okay, why don't we just go attack the bad guy's ground base? I mean, like that solves all of our problems at once. Sabine is like, I thought you'd never ask. And she turns to go get her stuff. And Ahsoka's like, well, you know, the bad guys have the map and the hyperspace ring. So like, if you and I can't make the journey to go find Ezra, maybe nobody should.
They set up a really great conflict with this. There's a lot of conflict in this episode. And something I meant to have mentioned before. This episode ratchets tension the entire time. And by the time you get to the end, it's like, holy shit.
Sabine is like, what the fuck? Hell no. Like, he'd be stranded out there in some weird ass galaxy. Ahsoka's like, yeah, but at least that way we wouldn't have any more Thrawn.
Yeah.
Sabine is like, whatever. We'll burn that bridge when we get to it. Let's just go beat up the bad guys. Ahsoka's like, can I count on you? Are you going to do anything stupid? Sabine says yes and no.
Yeah.
Ahsoka's like, I hope that was an order.
Yeah.
Sabine is like, who can say?
Yeah. Who knows?
So Hugh Yang comes down the ramp as Sabine is going up it and asks Ahsoka, is everything okay? Because you two were kind of talking and very excitedly down here. Ahsoka is like, just, okay, look, you just be careful and go fix and I'm going to go get my stuff.
Yeah. I'm going to go brood somewhere else. There's a lot of brooding in this episode, and it's good brooding. Like, don't get me wrong, but there's a lot of Balin's skull looking over the cliff, and you know what I noticed? Morgan Elsbeth is so fucking good at walking into a room. Have you noticed that?
Yeah.
Like, they introduce her character like that in every episode, where the door opens, she just walks into a room like, I'm a fucking badass.
If that's her bit, she's really good at it.
You know, it's Bruce Lee's goddaughter, right?
Oh, did not know that. Makes sense. So Hugh Yang like goes to work on the ship some more on the outside, and the camera kind of pulls back to show that there's an HK droid just watching the ship in the clearing, and the droid just kind of turns and walks away.
Which, by the way, Ahsoka, like, that's the direction Ahsoka was brooding at. So, like, was he pretending to be a tree?
He was just really stealthy.
Or maybe she just saw him and was like, I don't give a fuck.
Bring all your dudes. Let's just get them all out of the way at the same time.
I don't feel like I'm in danger.
So back at the Stone Circle, Balin and Morgan are standing there watching the ocean like badasses, you know, capes billowing in the wind. Shin and Merrick walk up, and Shin's like, hey, we found Ahsoka's ship. Can we go kick her ass? Balin's like, okay, just go send all of our red shirts. They'll surely do the job. Yeah. And, you know, maybe you should go too, Shin, just to watch and see what happens. So Balin turns to Morgan and says, we better get the fuck out of here. And Morgan's like, stop being such a fucking coward, dude. And he's like, bitch, I am smart. That's why I'm still alive.
Yeah. I think the line, she says something about sensing fear or something.
Yeah.
And then he answers something about it being experience or
I think
something like that. Yeah. The dude's, that's what I love about Balin's Skull so much so far, is that he is a really complex villain. Like, and I would bet that one of the upcoming episodes is going to be a look back at where he kind of started and everything. I'm really excited to learn more about his character.
Anyway, we get the title card, the big Ahsoka thing. So Hugh Yang is still out there, you know, turning his wrenches, trying to fix the ship. The red shirts are starting to close in. So Sabine is inside the ship. She has her Beskar armor on and is checking all her weapons, and she starts digging through her stuff, and Ahsoka just walks over and grabs the one component she's looking for and is like, just chill the fuck out.
Is it like as an ammo thing?
Yeah, it's just a fight. You don't need to freak out.
Yeah.
Sabine's like, I'm fine. Don't you worry about me. Ahsoka says, well, like, you telling me not to worry about you is making me worry about you. Like, The fact that you have a huge boner about Ezra is making me worry about you. And like, we might have to ditch Ezra to keep Thrawn over in the next galaxy over. And Sabina's like, yeah, but what if we don't?
Ahsoka's like, he friend zoned you.
Yeah.
Maybe you just want to leave him there.
Maybe.
Just saying.
So Hu Yang has finally fixed the thing when he hears a twig snap. He turns around. She kind of looks back the other way. He looks back the first way. Oh God, there's an HK droid there. so like this HK droid is like trying to beat the shit out of him with his metal fists, and Hu Yang fights back, and he's doing like, pretty well.
It's one of the comments. I was talking to some friends of the channel, and like he threw down. Yeah. The dude's like pretty okay, and I like how like there is like he's like fighting with two fists, and he's like, the two dukes might not be enough.
I have two more,
and then pulls out a couple more. And like, to be fair, I get that his job is training Jedi and everything, but he's not a combat droid, really. No. And he holds his own against like a droid whose stated purpose is an assassin droid. So I'm like, good job, Hu Yang. So
Hu Yang starts yelling, hey, help, help.
Hu Yang also probably has a stronger connection to the Force than Sabine does.
The red shirts are still closing in. And Hu Yang finally realizes like, hey, they're all the way inside the ship. They can't fucking hear me. Let me just reach one of my arms back and like rip a wire out of the ship. Inside, the power suddenly goes out, and Sabine's like, fucking Hu Yang broke the ship. We're even more fucked than we were before. And Ahsoka's like, no, actually, he would not have made a mistake. Something's happening.
He's way smarter than you, actually. This wouldn't happen.
So they both exit, and all hell's breaking loose. Ahsoka and Sabine do some cool teamwork, and they kill all the red shirts, and like, I think at one point Sabine like takes a shot to the Beskar and gets knocked down or something, and Ahsoka like flips over and
she grabs the one dude and uses him as a human shield, which is like a move straight from Jedi Survivor.
I feel like that's a war crime, but you do
what you gotta do.
Hu Yang is like, okay, this is really annoying because that's gonna set back my repairs by at least a couple hours. Ahsoka is like, just fucking fix the fucking phone and call Hera already. So they turn, they're like, we gotta go find the bad guys and beat them up. Hu Yang is like, look, you two are actually really good when you stay together, so just fucking stay together. Just work together. Work as a team. And they're like, yeah, fine, all right, I guess we will. I guess, Dad. And they go running through the woods. On Home One, Hera and Jason are walking through the ship bay when one of her dudes is like, hey, the fuck are you doing, General Hera? Hera's like, I'm going to go fucking help my friends. The dude says, but you don't have authorization. She's like, yes, I do. Now you can just tell the general staff to kiss my green ass. And I'm not going to that meeting, and you need to come up with an excuse.
You know what? Fuck meetings.
Yeah.
I'm so tired of meetings.
Hate meetings.
I'm a rebel. We can't even read.
Exactly. So Jason is booting up the ship, and he's like, Mom, why can't I do whatever I want to do? Hera's like, because I'm a grown up and you're like 9. Now shut the fuck up and turn on the compressor. So they fly out of the bay, and they get like a squadron of X-Wings coming along with them, led by none other.
Familiar face.
Yeah. By Captain Carson Teva from Mando.
I noticed he's not wearing his leather jacket. I was really kind of disappointed. The dude wears a leather jacket really well.
Carson's like, hey, isn't this whole thing us technically going AWOL? Like, couldn't this get you court-martialed and or killed?
And us also? Why are we doing this? Oh my God.
Hera's like, it's fine. I'm a rebel. That totally works in military court. Yeah. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
Carson's like, okay, whatever.
Put on that leather jacket. They'll forgive you.
Yeah. So they hyperspace out. On Cetos, Baylan and Morgan are still hanging around the Stone Circle. Morgan's like, okay, we're going to be able to go soon. Baylan was like, you better not get this wrong, because like we're making a really fucking big hyperspace jump, and if we take a wrong turn at Albuquerque, we are just lost forever.
Yeah.
Morgan is like, have
bounce too close to a supernova or find yourself inside a star, as we well know. It's not like dusting crops.
Morgan's like, just have a little faith. Baylan's like, I don't have any of that.
Faith is not a reliable pathway to truth.
Yeah, okay, you edgy atheist.
Look. This is why I love Baylan Skull, man. Like, I think he and I would get along.
So Morgan does some more hologram shit with the map and the everything, and like draws the path to the galaxy. And Baylan is like, "This is fucking witchcraft. I want to burn you at the stake."
I like how both of him and Shin both are just, every time she does something, they're like, "Witch,
she's a witch. Yeah. Can we burn her?" So Morgan's droid starts calculating the route as Ahsoka and Sabine are still running through the forest. Sabine and Ahsoka run into Shin and Merrick just, chilling in the clearing.
They're just standing there like doing their album cover, right?
Yeah.
Just like holding a pose. Like, are they here yet?
Shin is like, wow, you guys are in a hurry, trying to go somewhere? And Sabine just pulls out her gun and starts blasting.
Yeah, actually, okay, so I love this because, like, there's a moment where there's kind of a face-off and everyone's really still. And you can, like, Ahsoka, like, side-eyes Sabine. She's like, oh, she's about to go off.
Yeah.
And there's this really, like, this funny moment where, so she pulls out her guns, she starts shooting. They both run off. And, like, Ahsoka's watching them, like, oh, of course. And then she stops and remembers who she's with. And she's like, oh, I guess I got to whoop this guy's ass.
Guy.
Like, she's not even worried enough about him to maintain eye contact. She's just watching them, and she's like, if you want to swing at me, fucking go for it.
Kids, go have fun.
Yeah.
So, like, Sabine is blasting at Shin and chasing her, and it's not working because Shin has a lightsaber. Yeah. So Ahsoka just kind of stares down Merrick, and they have a cool, like, they draw their lightsabers and do this cool flourish, and it's very samurai movie.
He's got the spinny thing.
Yeah. So Sabine catches up to Shin, who force pushes her off her feet. And Sabine is like, wait a minute. This is a Jedi fight. I have a lightsaber. Let's do this.
Yeah. Also, that's not really so much a choice as it is she loses her blasters, I think. Yeah. She's like, oh, I guess I'm using the lightsaber. So
there's a whole bunch of fighting. The droid is still calculating the map quest route.
Yeah. So one of the ways they ratchet the tension in this is that all of a sudden, I mean, there's already a lot of tension anyway, but like now there's like, it's like in every video game when there's suddenly there's a clock.
Yep.
And you're like, oh shit, no.
They're also jumping between three different things. There's the droid and the people at the stone circle. There's Ahsoka versus Merrick, and there's Shin versus Sabine.
Yeah.
And going between all those and not resolving any of them ratchets up the tension. So Merrick does the Inquisitor spinny lightsaber thing, and Ahsoka's like, bitch, I have seen this so many times. Like, do you seriously think this is going to do anything?
Did you know I could fly away with this? Yes. I killed the last guy that tried.
Yeah.
So you want to go?
So they do the anime thing where like they run past each other and slash too fast for the eye to see. And Merrick like gets his gash across his chest and falls down to his knees. And like for a second you're like, okay, like he's wearing armor. He didn't get cut in half or anything. Surely he's okay, right? And then he like explodes into dust with this
green smoke
Nazgul screech.
Yeah. Okay, so this is one of those samurai stances that we were talking about. It's called Joden no Kame, which is you'll recognize it from Star Wars Episode 2. Actually, Anakin uses it against Count Dooku in their solo fight.
Oh, yeah,
right.
Yep.
Now, the neat thing about this particular stance, by the way, is that it gives you tremendous slashing power, but it also creates a very tantalizing target.
Yep.
Because you kind of like open yourself up. And so you have this entire side of your body when your opponent sees it, they're like, oh, I can get in there and get them. And the whole point is for them to try and for you to be like, oh, no, you're fucking dead.
Yep.
Which is exactly what happened to him. So also I'm very sorry. We're going to have to like, I don't know, maybe we'll start like a weekly counseling show about your Marok theories and how they were wrong. I'm so sorry.
He's just a weird ghost guy who is in armor or something.
I've got some notes about this at the end. My best guess is that he's probably just a reanimated corpse.
Could be.
Because it was clearly Night Sister magic that was keeping him going, right? Because we've seen that before in Clone Wars, and like when Savage Opress died, there was green shit, and and
it would actually make sense because the vibe it was never outright state, but the vibe I got was that Marok was like
he's kind of zombie-ish.
Morgan's guy, and like Shin and Balin were working with him because they were also working for Morgan,
right?
But like they didn't come with him.
I think she found a dead Inquisitor and she's like, you work for me now, and we know that they can do that. I mean, Jedi Fallen Order. There's a whole fucking planet of reanimated dead bitches running around, right? So that's just probably what it was. I'm sorry, it wasn't Luke, it wasn't Ezra. It just was some random
Mace
dude.
Windu.
Yeah, it was some random dude.
All right. So Shin like looks over at this and is like, "What the? I can't. You killed Kenny, you bastards." Sabine is like, "Look, Ahsoka, you go fucking get the map. I got this, bitch." Ahsoka leaves and Shin is like, oh no, you absolutely do not got this bitch.
Like, do you remember the last time that was like a day ago, by the way. Like, you cannot have improved that much since yesterday.
You have maybe one kidney left. Would you like to go 2 for 2? Yeah. So Morgan is still watching the progress bar on her course calculations and tells Baylan, like, look, I'm going to the ship. You fucking stay here and protect the map from any Jedi that might pop out of the forest. Conveniently, Ahsoka then immediately pops out of the forest.
Yeah.
So she's looking at all the hologram glowy shit and is like, damn.
Yeah, this is a good moment to call out Rosario Dawson's acting, but also how they distinguish the different characters, because Sabine is all about the person in front of her. Mm-hmm. And she's kind of reckless, and as we find out in this episode, extremely reckless, and makes poor decisions. Never really thinks about the full picture. Like, Ahsoka gives this glance when she approaches Space Stonehenge, mm-hmm. where like she knows that Baylan's there, but like she takes a moment to be like, what the fuck is this? Instead of being like, I'm going to go fight this guy, she's like, what does this mean? Which mm-hmm. is an interesting, she's just more wise, I think.
She takes a wider view of things. So Baylan is, of course, sitting there and he says, oh, yeah.
Okay, hold on. Because when he's talking to Morgan, he had his hood down, mm-hmm. right? And then she walked off. And at some point he had to have been like, it would be better if I put my hood up. Like, it would look way more badass.
Way more dramatic.
I'm going to put my hood up and I'm going to go sit on this rock.
Yep.
And like when she approaches me, my back will be to her. It'll just be the most metal fucking thing ever. Mm-hmm. And you know what? It was. It was so fucking cool.
So Baylan says, yes, Ahsoka Tano. Anakin spoke very highly. So I was like, that's funny. He never said a thing about you. Like, who are you again?
Yeah.
Baylan is like, well,
ouch.
Well, of course, everybody knew Anakin was the great war hero, but very few lived to see him become Darth Vader.
Yeah.
That's that's kind of dark. Is that why you walked away from him? Ahsoka's like, okay, we're not here to talk about the past.
Also, you have the order of events mixed up. I left him and then he became Darth Vader.
Baylan is like, you're right. We're here to talk about the future. The glorious future that Thrawn is going to create after he destroys everything. Ahsoka is like, okay.
Listen to what you just said first.
Maybe we can like get to a nice future without destroying everything I know and love. You know, that'd be kind of nice.
Nah. Can't. Sorry, we can't do that.
So I was like, okay, we're going to fight now. And Baylan's like, of course we are.
Yeah. How inevitable.
Like he rolls his eyes as they pull out their lightsabers. They do another stare down. They do more familiar, sword fighting stances.
Well, the thing I love is that they adjust their stances based on what the other person's doing, mm-hmm. Which is something if you ever watch like a free spar. There's lots of like, what is the best way to deal with this particular thing, and they do that really well, and it's good for drama too, because it gives them a lot of time to stare at each other and be like, mm-hmm.
They're fighting initially, and like you can see a huge contrast in their styles. Like, Ahsoka's trying to be like acrobatic and tricky, and Baylan's skull is all about raw power.
Yeah, and he's not. We mentioned this in the first episode. The dude doesn't move with any ornamentation. Yeah. He doesn't do any. He does one thing where he does that like jump spin, and it's the flashiest thing he does the entire time, and it's functional, and it damn near knocks her over. And it's really, and like, I was like, I did not know he could get that spry. Like, because he really is built like a fucking school bus.
So on her ship, Morgan is still watching the progress bar. Her droid says, hey, Ahsoka and Baylan are fighting, but we're about to get the hyperspace coordinates, so it's fine. Ahsoka like is trying to get around Baylan to get the map out of the pedestal, but every time Baylan gets in her way and says, nope, you don't get to do that. Sabine and Shin are still fighting back in the woods, and like it's not going well for Sabine.
No, she's getting tired and doesn't really know. The thing that also really made me laugh in the Baylan and Ahsoka thing is one of the times she reached out for the map, he just like yeets her across the fucking. He's like, get out of here. He just like throws her like, I don't know, like 10 yards or something. He's like, get out of here, little person.
So Shin like knocks Sabine's lightsaber out of her hands and like kicks her down, and like there's a couple spots where like Sabine is like blocking things with her Beskar, and she's that's a neat little.
She's having trouble keeping up.
Yes,
it's like the fight's not going her way at all.
So Sabine gets knocked to the ground with no lightsaber. Like she just instinctively reaches out her hand, and like Shin like looks like she got slapped a little bit.
Yeah, not even slapped. Like someone was like, eh. And, okay, the thing I love about this, the restraint shown here, any other person would have made this a moment where Sabine did something really impressive and was like, how do I do that? Mm-hmm. And it's not that. It's just like...
Shin is like, that was the worst force push I've ever seen. Are you even trying?
Right, yeah. It was... She's just like, God damn, you're real bad at this. And Yu Yang's like, I know. I've been trying to tell everyone.
Sabine is like, okay, I might not have the force, but I got these cool wrist rockets. And she like shoots those at Shin, and Shin's lightsaber goes flying. Mm-hmm. Back at Stonehenge, Baylan is telling Ahsoka, like, oh, you're just like Anakin. All you've ever done is kill and destroy. Ahsoka, like, knocks him down and grabs the map, but it burns her hand. She's like, fucking hell, girl.
It's like the Indiana Jones and the, what is that? I think Raiders of the Lost Ark. The guy's got the map burned into his hand, like the bad guy does.
So Sabine is staring down Shin, and Shin is like, actually, I don't want to be here anymore. She like throws a smoke bomb at the ground.
Yeah, she pulls a Ra's al Ghul. Yeah. Like fucking Batman, smoke bomb. She's not there anymore. Like, she really is just like, I'm going to go so as to not be here anymore. See ya.
Sabine is like, clever bitch.
Yeah.
Well, I got my lightsaber back. Yeah. So let's just fucking go chase her.
Why have I never thought of smoke bombs before? Yeah, that's really good.
That's really good. So Morgan's progress bar.
You think she's like skittered behind a tree and just waited there for a second for Sabine to leave? Like the smoke goes up and she's like, oh God. And
that would be far more clever than what she did. So Morgan's progress bar didn't reach 100% before Ahsoka grabbed the map, and she's kind of emo about it. Baylan's like, well, that was fucking stupid. And he has Ahsoka like almost pushed up against the edge of the cliff with just water behind her when Shin shows up. Ahsoka's like,
wait a minute.
Wait, why are you here without Sabine? Oh my God, you killed Sabine.
Yeah.
So Baylan's like, hey, get the fucking map. And Ahsoka like uses the force, throws Shin into a rock.
With like no effort. Yeah. By the way, she's like, get the fuck out of here.
Baylan is like, oh no, you just did not. Yeah. And like fucking pushes Ahsoka all the way to the cliff edge and is about to force her off, telling her like, oh God, it's such a shame. It didn't need to come to this. Like you've made so many mistakes to lead you to this point.
He does a lot of like villainy monologuing. Mm-hmm.
Just then, Sabine shows up and says, hey, look at this cool map I found and this cool gun that I have pointed at it.
Look at this cool situation I've created.
Yeah.
And Ahsoka's like, oh, you're not dead.
I have in my notes, Ahsoka says, yes, Queen Slay, blow up the map.
Girls get it done.
Exactly. Sabine is like, get the fuck away from her. Baylan is like, okay, I hear your ideas. However, alternate idea, fucking kicks Ahsoka off the cliff.
Doesn't kick her. Sorry. This is grasping at straws. He hits her so hard with his lightsaber and she blocks it and it just fucking throws her right off the... Yeah. It's so much cooler than kicking her because he just does it with his upper body strength. Yeah.
So Sabine like shoots at Baylan a couple times and then she realizes, oh wait, gun against lightsaber, this never works.
Yeah, you're real good at this.
So she points the gun back at the map again and Baylan's like, all right, fucking do it. I mean, your master would have done it. Like, and he takes a few steps closer and Sabine is like real tense. And Baylan just takes a deep breath, closes his eyes for a minute, turns off his lightsaber.
It's not the first time he's done this so far, by the way. Yeah. I think he must have some kind of, either he can get in your head a little bit or just has a good sense of what you need, or...
He might also just be naturally charismatic.
I think it was a Force thing, because the next thing he says is specifically targeted at her like specific problem that she's had, like her specific conflict.
So he says, hey, I know you really want to fuck Ezra. She's like, you can't prove that I don't to the satisfaction of a court of law.
Yeah.
He's like, okay, I know your family died on Mandalore because your master didn't trust you. Like, we both want to go to that really far away galaxy. You to find your boyfriend, me to find Thrawn so he can destroy everything. Why don't we go on a road trip together? Like, I'll bring snacks. You can bring a mixtape. It'll be great.
I'll bring the Pop-Tarts.
Yeah. It's like, you have my word. I will not hurt you. And I guarantee you'll be able to see Ezra again. Sabine is very conflicted here.
Yeah, she's like, oh shit, that's a good idea.
Wait, you're actually offering me exactly what I want.
Yeah.
And like with far fewer strings attached than Ahsoka ever did.
Yeah. And let's be fair also, Baylan could have killed her.
Yeah.
And I think she knows that.
Yeah.
She's like, I mean, if it was a trick, it'd be a stupid trick because he could just kill me right here.
Yeah. So she's like very stiff and like trembling a little bit. Like she slowly extends the map towards his outstretched hand. And like you can...
He's very patient with her.
Yeah.
Because I would have been like give it here.
This goes on for like a good 15 seconds where she's hovering on the brink of going one way or the other. And then she hands him the map.
Yeah.
And like her facial expression is like immediately, I have made a really big mistake.
Yeah.
But I'm also really horny.
Yeah. Yeah. She can't chance not getting back to Ezra. Yeah. Also, I mean, as far as she knows, Ahsoka's dead.
Yeah.
So like, what's the alternative? Like try to stall him enough for Hera to get there? And like, what is that actually, you know?
So she's not just like having some inner turmoil. She's having some outer turmoil too, because Shin has actually recovered and is now force choking her.
Oh yeah.
Baylan was like, hey.
They really don't like each other. They don't get along.
Baylan was like, hey, Shin, cool it. We made a deal. We're not hurting her. And Shin is like, fine, Dad, I guess. Yeah. And lets her go. Baylan's like, yeah, I'm such a better master than Ahsoka. Like, my apprentice actually listens to me. I keep my word when I make promises. Not like, you know, Ahsoka, who fucking died before.
Just go off. Goes off and dies.
So he puts the map back on the pedestal and Morgan's progress bar finishes. Back at the ship, Hu Yang is still fixing things when he gets a phone call from Hera. He's like, okay, you know, here's the situation. We're on the planet. Ahsoka and Sabine went to go deal with the bad guys.
Somewhere. Yeah, I don't know where the fuck they are. I did fight an HK droid, though, and I did well. Yeah. Hera's like, good job, Hu Yang, good job. So
Hera and the X-Wings hyperspace in, and Hu Yang is like, okay, there's a giant hyperspace ring in orbit. You need to blow it the fuck up. Ahsoka and Sabine are working down on the surface that they'll be fine. Just blow up the hyperspace ring and everything is good. So on her ship, Morgan is like, okay, so we've got the map going. Everything's fine. Just send a ship to pick up Baylan and Shin and let's get the fuck out of here.
Send an Uber over there. Pick him up.
The map is still floating in the pedestal and Baylan takes out his lightsaber and just stabs it until it explodes. So, you know, they can't be followed. And Sabine realizes then, like, shit, I really did make a huge mistake here, didn't I? Like the first hint should have been that like the first time we see her after that, like she's in handcuffs. Yeah. So like,
he's like, it's going to be a road trip, but you're going to be a captive the whole time.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So hyperspace ring like rises out of the clouds and Morgan is getting ready to leave as Hera and the X-Wings are swooping in to attack. Baylan, Shin, and Sabine in handcuffs walk out onto the bridge and Morgan's droid is like, yeah, there's some New Republic craft coming in. Sabine's like, oh God, that's Hera. Yeah. Morgan's like, ignore them. We're out this bitch. Yeah.
So which, by the way, in any other fucking story anywhere, the villain would get really overconfident, monologue or something, and then lose. Yeah. She's like, no, we got everything we need. Just fucking go.
Just fucking go. So the ship has this extremely elaborate power-up sequence.
Lots of noises.
Hera and Carson are like, shit, that's a lot of energy.
I like how like Baylan is like, this shit's powering up, and he's like,
witchcraft.
Are we going to die? Like, does this work?
Is this witchcraft?
Do you know that this is going to work? I should have asked this earlier.
So they jump and the wake of all this energy, like causes all the X-Wings to blow up.
Fucking great shot, by the way. There are some good VFX in this episode. That was one of them. I thought it was cool. Ordinarily in Star Wars, in the movies, when a ship jumps to hyperspace, they just move real fast and then they're not there anymore from the observer's point of view, right? Yeah. Like if you're in the cockpit, you get the star lines and shit. I thought it was really neat that like there was almost a Holdo effect with it, with like there's some blue and shit in there. I thought it was really funny that Morgan's like, we're just a ring. We'll go. Yeah, they'll go right through us. Like there's no reason to like. What do they think they're doing? It's fine. And it really like fucks those X-Wings up too. They were not prepared for that.
So like they brought 5 X-Wings. They're down to just 2, and Hera's ship is fine, but like she's probably like second guessing bringing along her only son at this point.
Yeah, it's like, what did you think was going to happen?
Yeah, because it probably wasn't this.
Yeah.
She doesn't regret bringing Chopper, though, because fuck Chopper.
Yeah. Also, Chopper could probably kill everyone anyway.
Yeah. Jason is like, I have a bad feeling about this.
He said the thing. She's like, okay,
Hera's
time for your Star Wars line.
Number one, that's copyright infringement. Yeah. Number two, no shit, you have a bad feeling. You don't have to be a Jedi. No, the bad guy's probably just
literally
won.
Two of our friends just died. Like, come on.
So Hu Yang is trying to call Sabine and say, hey, I fixed the engines. We can leave. Okay, that's really long. She hasn't answered yet. Hey, Ahsoka, I fixed the engines. We can leave. She's not picking up either. That's not very good. So we get a shot of the stone circle from overhead. And like we see at the bottom of the cliff, there's a couple rocks, and then it's just ocean.
Sea, yeah.
Just waves crashing against the rocks. And the ocean gradually transitions to this blue, like sparkling background.
A beautiful transition. Fucking great.
With Ahsoka like lying there unconscious. Yeah. And she's on some Force LSD because when she wakes up and sees like she's on a translucent path and there's other invisible paths around, and she hears this very distant, far away voice calling her Snips.
Yeah, which by the way, in the closed captions it said mysterious voice, and it's like, bitch, you don't think we know who that is?
Of course. She's like, shit, I've taken far more Force LSD than I realized.
Tripping balls.
There's only one man who ever called me that, and he is long dead. And like she stands up and turns around, and who should be there but motherfucking Hayden Christensen, looking significantly better de-aged than the last time we saw him.
Yeah, I've seen some discourse about this. We're going to talk about it.
Okay. So he's like, hey, what's up? Didn't think I'd see you here.
Yeah.
And like there's this,
what's good?
There's this nice musical interlude, and then like it fades to black, and there's just a couple seconds of Vader's theme.
Yeah.
And then it goes to credits. So that can mean all sorts of things.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull up my notes real quick because So first of all, Merrick, Night Sister magic. Yeah, he was just a zombie.
Sure,
and you know what? I'm fine with that.
Yeah,
like that's perfectly fine. He didn't need to be anyone else
in a show that has so many plot lines competing for screen time. I think Merrick just being a Night Sister zombie is fine.
Yeah. Okay. This whole Anakin thing is a little insane to me. So it's not just the Anakin thing. It's also, so we knew that Anakin was going to be in the show. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure Kathleen Kennedy was like, yeah, we got Hayden Christensen for this like 2 years ago or something, right? So like, it wasn't a surprise. I don't think anyone is surprised by the fact that the World Between Worlds shows up, because they've been using a lot of the iconography in the credits and a lot of the like the marketing materials. So like, I think everyone was like, oh, the World Between Worlds will probably come into this at some point.
Is that what this is?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
It is exactly. I knew what it was when they showed that that shot from the top, and she moved and everything rippled.
Okay. Yeah.
Because that's what happens in Rebels. It is absolutely the World Between Worlds. I did not expect for both of those things to happen in the 4th episode.
So does this mean that at some point in the Clone Wars, Anakin went to that weird Sith temple and went to the World Between Worlds?
Okay. So first question is, how did she get there?
Mm-hmm.
So in Rebels, right before Vader cuts her down, Ezra, it was like, excuse me,
out, grabs
I need to talk to Ahsoka real quick, and pulls her out. And that's how she survives.
Mm-hmm.
Did someone do that again? Was it Ezra? Like, Ezra's like, oh, I got to pull her out over here too. This bitch just keeps getting into trouble.
Yeah.
Or did she legit die? Here, let me just read through. Yeah. Or is there some kind of weird rule where like she went back to the World Between Worlds because like when Ezra pulled her out, she was like technically like cheating death. And so now like that she's died, she's like here again. And she's like broken how things work and everything. Anakin saying, I didn't expect to see you here so soon, makes me think that she died.
Yeah.
It just like...
That's the strong implication.
And what large testicles you must have to kill your main character in the 4th... Like, that's a Game of Thrones bullshit, right? Yeah. So someone could have saved her. Maybe Anakin could have, but it would have him saying like I didn't expect to see you here so soon. It would be kind of a weird line.
Yeah.
I would have a real weird feeling about Anakin in this. So first of all, the CG is fine. Yeah. I think it looks better than Kenobi. He's not a Force ghost. True. Which is the first thing where I was like, why? Because they have every reason to make him one. First of all, it cleans up the face replay, the de-aging thing, right? Mm-hmm. It's like putting that blue glow on everything would have really helped with because it's still a little uncanny, looks a little crunchy and everything. It was fine. It's like I get the point.
You got the point.
Yeah, it's like I get it. He's Anakin from Episode 3. And everyone would expect, like, there's no reason not to make him a Force ghost because it's kind of what everyone's expecting. So I think the fact that he's not is significant.
It means it means that they're doing something out of the ordinary.
Yeah, I know, which is really weird to me. When I say that there's something fishy about this, I don't think it's necessarily malicious or like he's not actually Anakin. It's just like
it might be malicious.
It could be
because of the Vader sting,
right? But it doesn't necessarily have to be like that. I'm like, I expected this to be done a different way, and the fact that they didn't is really raising some red flags for me. I don't think it's exactly what it appears to be, or there's something weird about it. Mm-hmm. Anakin still has his lightsaber. I have not known of a Force ghost to have their lightsaber ever.
Well, Anakin's not a Force ghost.
I don't think he is. I mean, maybe they're like, we forgot to put the blue glow on there, honestly. Like, sorry. Also, and this could be the environment that they're in, his lightsaber looks weird.
I'll have to go back and look.
We'll look at it during the Battlefront stream at 7, which you should join us for. It like part of it looks like his lightsaber, but part of it doesn't, and it could be because the material is reflecting all the blackness, and it just looks kind of goofy in that environment. There's not enough light, or you can't see it very well. But like his lightsaber looked kind of like it wasn't actually his lightsaber, like it's someone else's lightsaber. And then the Vader music at the end is like, what are you trying to tell us with this? Because like this, if it's Anakin, this should be kind of a joyous moment and shouldn't have some kind of ominous overtone at the end. Or is it that...
Two thoughts on that. First, the last time Ahsoka saw Anakin was Vader trying to kill her at the Sith temple.
Yeah.
Second thought...
She looked happy to see him, though.
Is that a lot of Baylan Skoll's dialogue in this episode was talking about Anakin. And specifically her relationship with Anakin.
And how they both like and only deal with things one way and everything. Yeah, I noticed that too, which I thought was also kind of weird.
Which I would expect is a writing trick to sort of tie all this together and explore that relationship further. And
also maybe explore some of Baylan's motives for what he's doing. Because like it could be that Anakin did something that made it easier for Baylan to run off and be a Jedi mercenary or whatever the fuck he is, right?
Or, killed all his fellow younglings.
Yeah.
Depending on how old Baylan is.
Yeah. So the whole Anakin thing, I've just got a really weird feeling about it. I'm just saying, don't be surprised if we get into the end of the show and there's something weird about it. Like he's not actually dead.
I hope there is something weird about it.
So the other question,
I do hope Anakin is dead.
Yeah, right.
That would be a colossal retcon that changes the entire fabric.
Yes. Let's talk about that real quick. The way that they're going to use the world between worlds in the story, it's
very carefully.
It has to be, because it's very tricky. When you do the timey-wimey, wibbly-wobbly bullshit, it messes with every story in the world. Like there isn't an airtight, watertight time traveling story in existence, because time travel is physically impossible, and there's a reason that it is. And so you can't just make it physically possible without it breaking the laws of logic, right? Yeah. So like you got to be really careful with it. They've already broken enough with it by pulling Ahsoka out, because it's like, so had that happened the whole time?
Yeah.
Or is this a branch timeline or what? I can tell you what they're not going to do. I've seen some people talking about it. They're not resetting the timeline. I'm sorry. They're not retconning the sequels. That's not going to happen. They've put so much into properties now that connect with the sequel trilogy And they've spent a lot of money making that happen. And also Disney would have to admit fault, which they're never going to do. So, I mean, sorry, that's not happening. There is going to be no multiverse because I think everyone's a little over it. Everyone's got a fucking multiverse now. Yeah. And it's just like, I think I only love it in Avengers and Rick and Morty.
Like, yeah, branching timelines are cool, and there's these cool what if scenarios. Yeah. You shoot the shit with your friends about. Yeah.
But then like, there's
nobody actually cares that much about it.
And then now there's like the Flash with Batman, and I'm sure like fucking I don't know, the Teletubbies have like a multiverse or something.
What makes those sort of multiverses fun is that they're very low stakes. Like they don't mess with the stories that you know and love. They don't directly interfere with those characters. Every time you try to make the multiverse a serious thing that has implications for the story, it falls apart because it's just too big.
So how do you think they're going to catch up with? Is Ahsoka going to come back to the real, like the out of the world between worlds? And if so, and even if not, how are the heroes going to catch up to Morgan and Baylan and Thrawn?
Crazy bullshit theory I just thought of and could be completely wrong.
Okay.
When Ahsoka grabbed the map, it burned her. They'd get some of the inscriptions off of her hand or something.
And they can work it out.
And work it out.
Yeah. My thought was maybe like they just like they find a Purgle, like, you want to be friends? And he's like, yeah, sure, I'll take you.
Yeah, sure, let's go.
Yeah. Which would be fine. Like, that'd be cool too.
That works with how space whales work.
It would kind of infantilize the entire conflict of, we have to do this thing. It's the only way to get there.
No, you just ask the space whales.
Yeah, it was like we would have taken you if you asked.
Yeah.
I'm going to read a couple of some people. Some of our fellow Star Wars fans have weighed in. I'm going to read a couple of these before we switch over here. Daniel says, so excited to see The World Between Worlds. It's going to be lots of Googling by the folks that ignored those silly cartoons today. Ben says, I have too many thoughts on this episode, and I totally get that. Like I do too. When are we going to see Grand Admiral Thrawn, says Andy. And then someone said somewhere between episodes 5 and 8. When it's
that's right. We're not. I asked in our Discord server if we were finally going to run out of trailer footage, and we're not, because we haven't seen Thrawn yet.
That's the one shot that they've not used from the trailers yet, which I think everyone assumed he's going to be in, which means that episode 5 through 8, we know nothing about.
Yes.
It's just a huge mystery.
We know that we're going to see Thrawn at some point. That's it.
Anthony says, I'm confused by Anakin's appearance. If he wants to appear the way it's whatever, but his lightsaber is different and he's not glowing, something's fishy. And I was like, I absolutely agree. Joseph says, it was so good. I had all the major components of successful Star Wars. My inner child watched with childlike wonder. It was a great episode. And then there are some comments here about how in an interview, Rosario Dawson said that episode 5 was her favorite episode.
Oh,
so that could be pretty cool. I want to make sure I get to Jimmy, a couple people that I know. Amazing episode. As for the end, I don't think that's really Anakin. I think Ahsoka is in The World Between Worlds. She absolutely is. That is 100% certain. Having a near-death experience, and what she is seeing is a fake Anakin. Basically, he didn't even have the Force Ghost aura, and plus he had a saber, and we heard Vader's breathing at the end.
Something is going on there.
Yeah. Why doesn't he have the ghost? But why does the ghost need a robot hand? You know how
you could argue that the hand has become so part of his self-image that even in death he sees himself as having the hand.
You know how they solve this problem in Rise of Skywalker?
How?
When Force Ghost Luke shows up, he surreptitiously keeps his fake hand hidden in his cloak the entire time. He only uses his left hand. And he keeps it covered up the whole time. So they're like, we don't know what we want to do with this, so just cover it up. We don't want to answer this right now. Rakesh says, good riddance to all those Marok theories, almost as bad as Snoke theories or those so-and-so is a spy theories from last Mando season 3 episode. People responsible for hyping up these series set themselves up for disappointment. I agree. People get themselves whipped up in a frenzy.
They see it's something that is not fully explained yet and think, oh my God, it's going to be so plot relevant to everything. It's going to be how they're going to reset the Star Wars universe. Yeah. And then it's just fucking, he's a Night Sister.
Well, not even that so much. People get themselves whipped up so much with a pet theory, and then when it doesn't come true, they take it as a personal attack on their dedication to the...
How dare Kathleen Kennedy make Marok not be Ezra?
Yeah. April says, well, that happened.
Yeah.
It happened.
Yeah.
John said, he ain't got hands, in which I replied, Hugh Yang threw hands.
He has 4 hands, and he threw every single one of them.
And then from our live comments, Jamie, I think you pretty much said what I read from your earlier comment. Mm-hmm. And then let's make it official.
Okay.
Is that am I being propositioned?
I think so.
It says, everyone keeps saying that they're HK droids, but I haven't seen one. They are HK class droids. They're not like HK-47. They're not the HK droids from...
They're not the HK droids but they are HK class
Yeah,
droids.
and I'm pretty sure that's canon. I'm pretty sure that's on Star Wars' website even. So they're definitely HK droids.
I think they actually refer to them as HK droids in an episode or two here.
And in the subtitles as well. So... LOL Rick and Morty. I know, dude. I fucking love Rick and Morty. Don't even get me started. We got to reset for Battlefront. The conversation will continue. We're going to be talking lots more about Ahsoka. So
bring
please
all your questions.
Yeah.
Bring all your theories. Bring every stupid Marok theory that has now been completely debunked.
So we can laugh at them.
Yes.
And this will be just in a few minutes.
Yep.
So, join us for that. Thanks for the comments and the support. Make sure you like, subscribe. All the links to our socials are in the description for the video. Our Discord server is kind of active, which is kind of cool. Yeah. Everyone kind of has a good time. So you can come join us there. We'll see you in a few minutes. Have a good day.
Bye.